What's up guys, Candidate here, and tonight I'd like to talk with you just a little bit about our bike upgrade. We are often talking about upgrading our bikes in terms of the components. Maybe we are turning from Shimano Ultegra to Shimano Dura Ace, or for mountain bikes from Shimano SLX to SRAM XX, and so on and so on. We do often talk about the components. We do also talk about wheels, because changing wheels on your bike can also have a huge impact on how the bike handles, of the weight of the bike, and overall feel when you're riding the bike. But I haven't found so many people talking and discussing the fork topic, both for the road bikes and for the mountain bikes. That's why I'd like to talk with you about it. I hope to see some comments just below the video. What do you think about it? Have you done some upgrades in terms of the forks on your bike, and was it really expensive, or is it good value for the money change or replacement for your bike? Why is it really worthy to talk about forks? Let's talk about road bikes first. I do have here the Easton EC90 Superlight full carbon fork, carbon dropouts, carbon blades, carbon steering tube, and this fork weighs around 334 grams. 334. Why is it worthy to think about such fork? In terms of the weight, if you have some good quality frame for carbon would be around, let's say, from 800 to 1000 or 1100 grams, just roughly. So if you have a very light frame for, let's say, 900 grams, the weight of the fork will be more than 1/3 of the weight for a super light fork. If you have some heavier fork, like this one is also a full carbon fork with just the aluminum dropouts, this one weighs 460 grams, so 130 grams more than this Easton. Then it will be a half, 50% of your frame weight. We do not often think about the fork. It's just a fork, but it weighs quite a lot. So changing the fork into lighter one is a good option if you are a weight winner, if you do think about weight so much. I do not, but I think it's also a very interesting topic. So weight would be one thing to consider here. The other one is also that the fork has a huge impact on how the bike will handle. So in my opinion, that's the wheels and the fork, and then I would think about the components. You can have a fork with a good compliance, or just more comfortable fork. You can change your fork into one that will not bend so much during braking, and the feel of your ride will be just much better. You will be better rider. You'll be going much smoother through the corners. You won't be forced to be braking so early before hitting the corners. So thinking about forks is a really very interesting topic. For the mountain bikes, even more, because here we've got the suspension, right? Front suspension. If I was to ride a bike, let's say on some Shimano Diori components, if you buy a bike, a just stock bike with Diori, for example, this bike won't have some super fork. That's why one of the first upgrades for myself would be the wheels and the fork on such bike. The suspension fork will weigh even more. A light fork should have around, let's say, 1500 grams of the weight. Of course, now we have 2.9ers, so the weight went up a little bit again. This one is 26 inch, so for the small wheel, so-called small wheel today, and this one weighs around 1370 grams, which is quite okay. And this is just the spring and the elastomer inside. That's why I'd like you to consider replacing the fork on your bike for better stiffness, better ride feel, better control over your bike, and of course your comfort and the weight of your bike. Very important thing that we should be aware of is of course the weight limit for the fork, because many super light forks will have some weight limit. I couldn't find more information on this Easton EC90, but as far as I know, it doesn't have any weight limit, so it's a good one. And it does give you a good feel during the ride, so you should definitely check out the weight limit for all the forks. Of course, the forks with the aluminum steering tube will be just no limit usually. They will be stronger for like heavier rider, maybe more than 90 kilos for the rider, so around 100 kilos for the set rider and the bike. But quite a few full carbon forks will be also okay for a heavier rider. The only question here will be just the stiffness of a full carbon fork for a heavy rider. That's why we would check out all the information about the fork, including the weight limit, and also it's very good to read all the reviews about a certain model of the fork. In my opinion, it is really worth to consider replacing the fork on your bike, maybe especially for those who have like good quality aluminum frame in the bike that would cost maybe $500, $600, $700, but these have maybe still the aluminum blades on the fork, and then some nice full carbon fork would be maybe a good option for you. I'd like to hear from you guys in the comments what models of the forks you are using. Maybe you've just replaced the fork to some other model. How do you feel on the fork? How is the handling of the bike? What has changed in terms of the weight? I'm gonna also compare the different materials for the fork in another episode, but so far I'm just waiting for you there in the comment section. Thanks for watching and bye bye.